Okay, tonight on the Mac to the Future live cast, I have David Ginsburg from the In Touch with iOS, who was one of my fellow compatriots over there at the Macstock 2018 conference and expo that just happened. And if you missed it, shame on you, because it was a really, really good show. And he's going to be on, and he's going to tell you shame on you. Yeah.
Yes. Shame on you.
Okay. Yeah, and here we are. We are here, and I'm still trying to get everything all put together. There's the lower third. I got the lower third down, it's all good and well. And I have David Ginsburg. He is here on Skype, and I am going to bring him in so that you guys can see just what he looks like. There he is. No, that's not him. Damn it. I knew I was going to screw it up, and I did. I can't find your... There you are. There's Dave. Hello, Dave.
What's going on?
I don't know. There's your lower third again. So yeah,
and you spelled my name right.
I did. And it was actually an issue. I had to look it up. I had to make sure that it was B-U-R-G and not B-E-R-G, like David Ginsburg, not Berg, but Berg.
Like Ruth Bader Ginsburg, the Supreme Court justice spells it the same way.
Right, or that guy that was the artist in Mad Magazine. I think his name was David also.
Yeah, he was.
I'm not sure now. Okay. Well, this is what's going on. We've got the two of us here now, live. Hey, everybody. Now, tonight, there is I don't have stories written up that we'll talk a little bit about some of the stuff that happened today. Apple had their quarterly earnings yesterday, and it was huge. I mean, just huge. And I don't know if officially they're at the $1 trillion company mark yet.
Oh my God! I just looked at their stock.
What did it get up to?
$201. It went at $12 today.
So it's 201. So it's real close.
It's $201.50 according to my Apple Watch.
Okay.
Oh, I had just looked at it today. Just right now. I had not looked at it at all today.
Well,
the market. Let's see here. I'll get on here.
What is the official
increase? It went up $11.21 today. Holy cow!
So that's a lot.
I'm a proud stockholder. Thank you.
Yeah. Well, you know how many? Oh, and you know what? I'm not going to leave myself out. Do you know how many shares I have?
How many?
Zero. Zip. None. And I had the chance back in 1998, and I was a Mac user. Yeah. To buy them at like $12 a share.
No, I have it invested in my 401k. So they let you play the stock market on that. So my 401k is doing very well, thank you.
Yeah, I got nothing. So what are you going to do? So, anything else going on in Mac news that I haven't thought of? I mean, I didn't do any show notes or jack for this show tonight.
It's because we got Macstock to talk about.
We do.
You didn't see a lot of the presentations, so I can give you a little more insight.
Yeah. You know how many presentations I saw? About the same number of Apple stock holdings that I've got. Zip. Actually, no, I did see a few of them.
Yeah.
Now you didn't have nearly as far to go as I did. So I mean, you rolled out of bed, jumped in your car, and you were there in like 20 minutes. Well, a little bit longer than 20 minutes, but you were there pretty quick.
15 minutes.
15, yeah, with traffic.
Or zero traffic. A clip at my family's lake house, and I just slept there. I didn't do anything other than sleep there and come to Macstock each day. So it was 3 full days. You know, I saw you on Thursday night. We did a little bit of a equipment swap and had a nice dinner. And I'm actually using one of your SS1s now, and I think the mic's sounding pretty good.
Which mic do you have it hooked up to?
The 2100, the Audio Technica.
Okay.
100.
So. For people who don't know what we're talking about, and that would probably be all of you, one of the things that I was doing when I went to Macstock this year, I had put some of my audio equipment actually in Facebook Marketplace. And did you see that there, or we had some kind of conversation about it, or how did that work? I don't remember.
No. I remember you had sent out a private message through Facebook telling everybody about some of the stuff you had, and then I saw you had the mixer, of course, and the mics, and the boosters, and I said, I'm interested in it because I like to play, but only this podcast thing maybe less than a year and a half, 2 years here, so why not? Have some
why not? So.
You saw my Zoom H6, which I actually love this thing.
I have considered getting. Oh, actually, before we get off the Zoom H6, were you able to figure out how to do multi-track from it, or was that just a dual track?
I did. Like we talked about, I went into Call Recorder and set it to multi-track. I didn't have it set that way when I recorded it. The when I reached out to you, said it didn't work. So, but then I did my other podcast.
In Touch with iOS.
Well, no, I did my other podcast, which is Off the Charts Horse Racing, because I do a horse racing podcast too.
You know what? You had told me that.
Yeah, I know it's not technology, so I'm not going to expect to talk much about it, but I religiously do that one once a week. In Touch with iOS, we're overdue. I got to get hold of Melissa, and we're ready for a show. It's been quite a while. It's been almost a month. So
you are. Let's see. Let me see if I get this right. You are in touch. I'm doing this on the fly here, folks.
In touch with iOS.
And what's the other one?
Off the Charts Horse Racing.
Off the Charts Horse Racing, and these can both be found in iTunes.
Yes, they can.
Find them in iTunes. And then what I do is I hit this button.
You can share it on Facebook.
And there it is right there. I love this program. Oliver Bradenbach, something like that. I can never get his name right.
German.
Oh, very German. He's very German. Yes. And super nice guy. He is with Boink Software, and he was the one that made it possible for me not only to have Mimo Live as like a long-term test, and I still need to do some write-ups and some other stuff, though I have been talking the crap out of it for about the last couple months. He also sat down with me while we were at Macstock, while everybody else was having a good time watching sessions. I was in the McHenry Community College cafeteria with Oliver.
By the way.
Yeah, trying to figure out all this stuff because I had. Well, now you saw my mobile setup, right?
I did. It was pretty impressive. You had lots of wires set up there.
Oh my goodness! Yeah,
comments about that too.
Yeah, I actually had a lot of people walking by my the table that I had it all set up on. Because one of the things that Mike Potter started last year, and we're going to get to everything else that has to do with Macstock now. I have to get all of this out. One of the things that Mike Potter started last year with Macstock, he started this thing called Mac Swap. So if you had stuff that you didn't need anymore, you could bring it, and you couldn't charge money for it. But you could bring it, lay it out on the table, and other people who may need your stuff could just come by and look through it and take it away. And, I have been, for the last 2 years that he's done this, I have been very, very surprised that at some of the stuff that's been on that table. I mean, there's been old, like, Mac Pro 1,1s. I know Tim's daughter, Brooke, got a
Mac Mini.
Yeah, it was a Mac Mini 1,1, which is it's a Core Duo. It's not a
board for. That's not bad. It's a Microsoft keyboard.
Oh, really? Is it Bluetooth?
Yeah, Bluetooth. I couldn't believe it.
Nice. I actually had a box, and I'm looking at it over here.
Your box that you didn't want to give away.
Yeah, but people kept going by and looking in that box.
Hey, can I buy that?
Yeah, this for free too. It's like, yeah, that $300 audio interface. No, that's not to give away. But as it turned out, the only thing that I managed to to sell of all that stuff that I brought was it was a Samson CO3U microphone, and that was bought by, oh gosh darn it, I can't remember his name. Super nice guy. I've seen him countless times. He's a friend of Julie's. He's from the Netherlands.
Oh, Martin.
Thank you. I'm so awful with names, Fred, that, I don't know what to do. Bob, George. So I brought all that stuff back, but I had another box of stuff that I was putting into MacSwap, and then I had the third box. Now, in the third box was the Behringer 1204 Xenix mixer, 2 Audio-Technica 2100 USB microphones, and 2 Simply Sound SS1 mic actuators, along with some cables and the little crappy. And I included the crap. There it is, right there. I included the crappy mic stands that those things come with, just because
they are crappy.
They're awful. They really. And if anyone who goes out now, this isn't about the microphone. The microphone itself is great. The ATR 2100 microphone, wonderful microphone. However, it comes with, when you buy it new, it also comes with an XLR cable. Yep. It comes with a micro USB cable, and it comes with this crappy stand. And it is about just plain garbage. I mean, it's an awful stand. So you actually, I guess you have that in your
my pouch, protected. See, those are the ready for transport, just in case I'm ready to do a podcast. Actually, I'll be in Las Vegas in a week from Tuesday, so I'll have this ready.
What's going on in Vegas?
We're just go out, hang out with my buddy, me and my other buddy who I do the podcast with, Steve.
Right.
We love going to Vegas because my other friend lives there, so we get to stay at his place and hang
sweet.
Out. And we play the horses, of course.
Of course. Well, of course. That's the podcast. I have I don't know if you can see on Facebook. I've got a box up with your two podcasts on there, and I did that all on the fly while I was just talking.
I'm impressed.
So anyway, let me tell you the story.
Sure.
I've told this story a couple times. I've told it on the My Mac podcast. I've told it on a couple of Guys' Daily Drives. Now I have to tell it here as well. The story of me getting to Macstock 2018. It began, as many stories do, a long, long time ago, when the skies were clear and the flowers were... No, never screw that noise. Basically, Wednesday morning, which I think was the 18th of July, I got up super early. Not intentionally. My intentional time of getting up was 4 a.m. to be out the door by 5. I'd already pre-packed the car the night before, except for a single tech bag. So all of the stuff, the 3 boxes of gear, the one for the MacSwap and the one for you and the one that I was trying to get rid of or to sell while I was there, was already in the car, along with most of my other stuff. All I needed to do was take my last tech bag. Because even though I live on a cul-de-sac and it's a nice neighborhood, I'm not putting $1,000 worth of audio gear in a car that's going to be out of my sight overnight. Not going to do that. So, actually woke up at 2:30 in the morning and couldn't go back to sleep. I was so excited about getting on the road. So I went ahead and I got up, got something to eat, cleaned myself up, and did a little bit of stuff on the computer, and then ended up still getting out the door about 4:45. And that first day, I got all the way to Lafayette, Indiana. And that's from where I live, that's like almost 700 miles. So that first day, I got some driving in. Spent the night and got up the next day, Thursday, the 19th, got to Woodstock, met up with Mike Potter, who is the head muckamuck for the Macstock Conference and Expo. Helped him move. I met him at the school, so I helped him move some stuff into the school. So I actually got the first official look out of probably everyone except for Barry and members of Mike's family on what the swag was going to be for Macstock 2018. And there was some, you know,
I got all the swag.
Mike came up with some great stuff. I mean, besides, you know, your typical coffee mug that they were, you know, that was separate. You had to buy that separately. And the hat, the Macstock hat, and the logo this year was really, really cool. I love the logo for Macstock this year.
I bought the hat too.
Yeah, I bought a hat and I bought a coffee mug. He also had an umbrella that had the Macstock logo on it. He had this weird little bag, and it came in this like little tiny thing that it was like a grocery bag or a laundry bag or, you know, whatever it is you wanted to use this bag for. Then there was also a larger bag.
What? About that big?
Yeah, well, not that big, but I mean there was a bag that was about. Yeah, it was pretty good sized, and it and all this stuff had the Macstock 2018 logos on it and stuff. And I mean, and this was all just stuff he was giving to people as they came in. So that all worked out really, really well. The next morning, now we're on Friday the 20th. My day was actually no. I forgot. Thursday I met with you. Thursday night.
Where we had dinner.
Yeah, we had dinner at the Char House.
Yep, at the Jameson Char.
Jameson Char House. And
I went there twice in 1 week.
I actually ate there twice in one day. I'd eaten there for lunch.
Did you really?
I did.
Oh, the one for steak. Yeah.
Yeah, the one that's over there in McHenry or in Crystal Lake.
Yeah.
But I never turned down a good steak.
No.
So, let's see. Then I met up with you and handed over the mixer and the microphones and the actuators, and we spent about pretty much fruitless 45 minutes trying to get everything to work. And I think you were hungry.
You're too kind. I was hungry, and I knew you were like wanting to get this thing working. I trusted you. I knew it was going to work, so we were fine.
Okay. Well, we won't go into that. But yeah, we had finally, you know, Dave was basically pushing me out the door. It was like, okay, come on. It's time to get something to eat. Just walk away, guy. Walk away. So went and got something to eat. Went back to the hotel. The next morning, I drove out twice to O'Hare Airport. Because originally I was picking up both Bob, Dr. McLevitis, and Kelly Goumont, and their flights were about an hour apart. So I figured, okay, I'll get to the airport. I'll meet up with Bob, because his plane was coming in first. And we'll wait however long it is until Kelly comes in, and then we'll cram both of you into my little tiny Kia Soul. And fortunately, neither Bob nor Kelly had a lot of stuff. So if things had worked out the way I had originally thought it was going to, it still would have worked, right? There still would have been enough room in the Kia Soul for all three of us and their stuff, because I got all my stuff out ahead of time. But because there was some weird weather that weekend, not so much in like the Chicago Woodstock area, but everywhere else throughout the Midwest and the East Coast. So Bob was coming up from Texas, and his flight was delayed about an hour. Ooh. And Kelly was coming, I think, from Oregon or Portland. Washington State. And her flight was delayed like 3 hours. So instead of having 1 hour in between these flights, it was like over 2 hours. So when I met up with Bob, I was like, you know, I don't want to sit here at O'Hare Airport for 2 hours waiting for Kelly to get in. So I said, let me just go ahead and take you to the hotel, and then I'll come back for Kelly, which is what I ended up doing.
You're a nice guy.
I am, but there's nothing to do.
Oh, gosh.
If you can't get past the security checkpoints, there's nothing at O'Hare other than like baggage claim and check-in counters. So I brought Bob back, and then went back out for Kelly, and we stopped at Dunkin' Donuts just as we got into Crystal Lake. She had a hankering for, it was like some kind of cold coffee drink that she wanted, and then she bought me a donut. So I was like, yay, I got a Dunkin' Donut. So That was Friday, and then there was the get together at the. I was just thinking of that
Bulldog.
The Bulldog. Thank you, which was like caddy corner from the hotel, the Hampton Inn that everybody, well, not everybody, but a lot of the people that were speaking were all pretty much staying at the Hampton.
Right.
So they had a get together there at the Bulldog, and that was Friday. Now, before we get started on the conference itself, let me go ahead and I'm going to run a quick ad for Mr. Ed Eisen, who has a book. So everyone watch this, and we'll be right back. Are you a new Mac user or an old hand? Wish you could know the ins and outs, keyboard shortcuts, or hidden tips and tricks to make you more efficient using your favorite computer? Hey, it's your lucky day, because Edward Eisen has written a great guide to knowing more about the Mac and the OS that it runs on. It's called This Is the Light Side, and it's available through Apple's iBookstore or with Amazon. Better yet, it's not a stuffy old book that gathers dust on the shelf once the next operating system is released, because it's an ebook that you can look at any time you want. It won't get outdated because it's continuously being updated. Information on setting up your new Mac, installing and getting rid of applications, security settings and what to look out for, keyboard shortcuts, some basic app recommendations, how to use Windows on your Mac, if you really want to, that is, advanced topics, searching, using iCloud, and much more. All this for a mere 99 cents. Go to the iBookstore or Amazon and check out Edward Eisen's This Is the Light Side. It's the book you want on your virtual shelf. And we are back. Hey, Dave. How you doing?
Doing great. Glad to be here.
Yeah. Forgot to mention, Frank was out there. Frank Petrie. Hey, Frank. He's here in the comments section.
Great to see you, Brank.
It was. Do you call him Brank?
I said Frank.
Okay, I thought you said Brank. Maybe that was just something wrong with my hearing. The conference opened the next day. This was the 21st.
Right.
And it started off, Mike got onto the stage and was just kind of welcoming everybody, and then introduced Bob Dr. McLevitis, who was doing the keynote presentation. And he, Bob has been doing this kind of thing for a really, really long time, and he really knows how to work an audience. So it was no surprise that he got a big round of applause after he got done. And then from that point, almost for the entire rest of the day, I didn't see anything that happened there on stage.
I know, you were out recording.
Well, not so much that you're not recording.
Setting it up.
Yeah, it took me, because in the bag, and I'm not going to dwell on this too much, but I had the 4 microphones. I had the 4 FedHead mic actuators. I had the 4 input audio interface. I had a little headphone amp that, in theory, would have allowed every single person sitting at the table, up to 4 people, to be able to have headphones. And if I had remembered to bring a 1/4 inch to 1/4 inch TRS cable, that would have worked. But I didn't, and I couldn't find one on the MacSwap table. And that's Tim Robertson from TechFan, of course, and originator of the MyMac.com podcast. Yeah. He came over at one point and he was like, "Oh, Guy, what's wrong? You have a sad face," or something along those lines. And I was like, "I can't find a 1/4 inch TRS cable so that I can hook up the headphone active so everyone can have headphones." And he kind of looked at me. He was like, "Everyone is at one table. You think they can't hear each other?"
Right.
And it was like, "Oh, well, yeah, I didn't really think about that." So it was so very, very weird. But it was nice. It was nice that that other people had my back, while I was there. But I did and I had problems with one of the microphones too, getting that to work. And the other thing that I discovered was that the microphone that I thought was the best microphone, that EV767A dynamic microphone, Electro Voice, sounds like crap compared to those half the price Sennheiser microphones. So, yeah, and I didn't realize that until I was editing later. It was like, wow, Tim sounds great. I sound like crap. So, what are you going to do? So were you in there pretty much the whole time for the rest of the day?
Oh yeah. I could definitely give you a recap.
Okay. Well, talk to me, Goose.
Yeah. So Dr. Mac, Bob Levitas was great. You saw him though, right?
I did not see his presentation. I saw his opening remarks.
Yeah. And he did he's great with the productivity information. And he's really fitting for this year's theme was productivity.
Yes.
And he did a great job. And in fact, he was very generous. He even offered a nice discount to all the attendees for his productivity video series. So,
did you get one of his books?
I did.
He had the coolest little giveaway. Now,
yeah,
Bob Levitas has been writing books for a really, really long time. And he's typically worked with publishers, and he seems to be trying to get away from that and do more self-publishing. And you probably have one right there. He gave me this thing. It was like about the size of a credit card. And that's the book. That's the entire book right there. Yeah. You kind of flip open this one piece, and yeah, go ahead and show him that. And there's a USB connector. Yeah. And so you just put that in your computer or wherever else you have a USB port. And there you go. And that's it. I mean, it was so cool. That was really, really cool. I thought that was so neat.
It's very generous.
It was. So you were saying, right. So the theme was productivity.
Yep. So no, yeah, he had a full hour to talk and had a great presentation on all of being productive. He's a productivity addict is what his presentation was. Then Mike Schmitz came on and did his personal productivity. He's a great speaker. He's done a great job. I remember watching him for the first time. He actually came to my Apple user group and did a presentation. He was still working through things, but doing great stuff with his productivity discussions. And he did a great job too. And then Jean McDonald did a great job with her blog, with microblogging. A lot of things I didn't know about with microblogging.
Right. And we should mention Jean McDonald is also the founder of App Camp for Girls.
He did it. Yes, and that's right. Sorry, her and Kelly Gamont worked together on App Camp for Girls, yep. And that was great to see them. I had not met both Jean or Kelly, so that was nice to meet them for the first time, as well as Bob. I had not met Bob at all either. So, and then Brett Terpstra talked about tagging. Tagging is always an interesting topic. A lot of things I didn't even know about tagging in Mac. So. It's really cool. So, then our friend Chuck Joyner, which spoke about buy what you use and use what you buy. I picked him up at the airport. Since you talked about people you picked up at the airport, his flight was on time, so I got to be there. And I was waiting there just.
He had a much shorter flight too. At least
yeah, he comes from
yeah. So that wasn't that long.
Yeah. So
and his recording setup, if people haven't seen it, he basically has this little stand that an iPad fits into, and then he's got kind of he connects a microphone to the iPad, and he's got a light, and he's got some other things that all attach to this big stand, and that's how he does his interviews and stuff. Everything that he does for Mac Voices and what's the other one he does?
Mac Jury. And his other stuff like Mac Jury and
yes. Mm-hmm. But it was so cool to see that, because I could remember going to the last couple of Macworld Expos and trying to do everything on an iPad, and of course that was 4 years ago, so it wasn't quite as refined as it is today. But the fact that he was able to record all of that audio and all of that video and everything else, everything through iOS is amazing.
Yeah. And I mentioned Frank in the chat room in the chat. He mentions about the recordings were all the presentations were recorded. I'm not sure how Mike Potter is going to share them. So he did offer a digital pass for folks to pay for the digital pass, and they're going to get the videos later. Mike had a pretty elaborate setup. I was pretty impressed about what he did to get that going, because like 2 cameras going on in the main stage, and then he had a camera set up in the other breakout room for the other deeper dives. And it's going to be interesting to see how well these videos came out, because he had a whole setup on his iPad. I'm not sure what the program was. I didn't get time to talk to him about it, but that, yes, those are all recorded. And then yes, Mike Schmitz he works for Asian Efficiency, and he's got some great productivity things he talks about. So, and then the first day wrapped up and with deeper dive sessions with all the speakers that I just mentioned, and some were going against each other. So during the first day, and then this guy Serle,
him.
He did this. They did the My Mac game show. That was a lot of fun. And actually, I won a case. And I raised my hand, and you picked me right away. And I'm like, what the hell? I'll raise my hand. Turns out that case is worth like $80 that you
really. Well, I mean, we got a lot of stuff from Mac Alley, and of course, OWC is always so generous.
Very generous
with not only with with Macstock, but stuff that's related to mymac.com. And Larry O'Connell, who couldn't be there, but he had a virtual presence. They had this robot that had what looked like an iPad on top of it, on top of a Segway. That's the best way I can think to describe it.
That's exactly what it was.
Yeah, it was like an iPad on top of a Segway.
Wheel, you just kept moving back and forth. But you'll get
and
to that.
It didn't work. It actually, because we were testing it like a half hour before Tim and I were going to go on, because we were the last presenters for the day, other than the deeper dives.
Yep.
And it wasn't working. So we were like, okay, well, what are we going to do? Because we needed 3 people on stage, because there were 3 potential answers to each one of the questions that we had. And then we were just about to get started when they carried Robo Larry in and set him down. And Larry was controlling this Robo Larry remotely from OWC's headquarters. And he turned it toward the audience, and it started moving forward. And I'm sure he didn't realize that he was getting closer and closer to the edge of the stage. But everybody in the audience was like, "No, stop! And I think it was Barry reached over and grabbed it at the last minute just before he rolled off the stage. And I was talking to somebody afterwards. I said, well, it would have been a funny gag. Of course, if it had broken, it wouldn't have been that funny. But would have been to have it so that it rolls off the stage. But when they pick it up, you see Robo Larry, but he's got a bloody nose or something from the fall. Yeah, so
I like that.
So the My Mac Game Show quiz went swimmingly,
well.
And we basically, if I picked you, because I was the one that was out in the audience running around picking contestants, and if I picked you, you were going to win a prize, and chances are whatever prize you won was going to be the same prize whether you got the answer right or whether you got the answer wrong. And it was kind of set up to tell the truth, though it was a little bit different. Essentially, the audience member would pick whoever it was that was going to answer whatever the question is, and then that person would give an answer, not necessarily the correct answer, but an answer. And then the audience member had to say yes or no whether or not they believed him. And but then there were only 3 wrong answers during the entire quiz. But again, it didn't matter. You got the same prize whether you got it right or wrong. It was the audience participation, and it was getting together with the people on stage, and it was much more interactive than it was last year. And we'll probably do some variation of that same thing for next year.
Yeah.
So then that night, of course, there were 3. There were kind of 3 events.
Yep.
There was the family game room. So if you had little ones and you were there, you could go in and play board games.
Right.
There was karaoke over at the Bulldog, which I did not attend. I don't know if you went to that.
I did go there. I actually sang.
Oh, what did you sing?
Hotel California. In fact, Allison Sheridan shared the video she did of me singing. She didn't want to put the whole thing out there because, of course, she focused on Steve, which
right,
rightfully so. But
it's only her husband.
Yeah, it's only her husband. I'm going to edit my piece down, but Don McAllister was up there, and Barry and I were singing together, and it was a lot of fun.
I'm kind of sorry I didn't go over and participate in that.
You would have had fun
because I was over in the third room, where they were playing. What were they called? It's these games on the Apple TV.
Jackbox.
Jackbox, right? So up to 8 people can participate in giving answers to these questions, and it's not like everybody needed their own controller, because you essentially would just use your iPhone and plug into the service. Right. And it's really kind of cool the way that works, and I've done it before. My son Peter has done that before, and I've been there for that, and that's always a lot of fun. And as it turned out, after I left, because I mean it had been a very, very long day for me. So right. I was there until probably, I don't know, about 10 o'clock or so, and I was tired, so I went up to my room. But then after I left, apparently my name was used in quite a number of the answers that were given. You know, it would be like, if you were going to school, what would be the one thing that your teacher would not want you to bring with you? And somebody would answer Guy Serle, or something along those lines. So, no, I don't care.
In fact,
it doesn't bother me at all.
In fact, I invited my wife to come out, and she came. I went and picked her up, or brought her back, and we had a good old time. She met her and Kelly were hanging out, and those two hit it off. In fact, when we got back to the hotel, we're doing a nightcap. We ended up seeing a. This was probably at around 12:30 in the morning. There was a bride that just got back from their wedding, and they brought their big thing of wedding cake. And I'm thinking this has got to be the wedding cake they're going to put in the freezer for if they're just
20 years later or whatever.
She was older, so you could tell she had been
drinking a little.
She was married before, I think. I had this feeling.
Okay.
So my wife was feeling good, so. She went up to the bride and said, "Can we have some of your cake?" So I wanted no part of this. And if you remember in the lobby there, I'm sitting in the back. I'm just watching them and just cracking up, watching them do this. It's wrapped in this aluminum foil. So they crack it open. Her, Kelly, and the bride and her family. They just started cutting the cake up and they started eating the cake at the hotel. I was just cracking up. And of course they got a picture together at the end. So
that's funny.
So by that time, it's like, Kat, come on. It's 1 o'clock in the morning. I've been at this since...
It's time to go, dear. It's time to go.
Especially, it's a school night. I'm speaking the next morning, so...
Well, tell me about what happened the next day.
Yeah, so Dr. Bob Levitis did another great thing about talking about how you do work more in less time and more time for things you love. He did a good presentation with that. Then this guy came up. Oh, yeah, it was me. David Ginsburg talked about, I did productivity using your Apple Watch, iPhone, and iPad.
Oh, I was actually there for that one.
Oh, you did? I didn't see you in the audience.
I was in the back sitting with Tim.
You were hiding. So, so you saw it, but I had a lot of great feedback about it. I really what I wanted to do is put a spin on productivity.
Your
you
audio is
could potentially use your Apple Watch to be productive. It is? Okay.
A little bit.
Can you hear me now?
Yes.
All right. So how I wanted to be able to, you could use your Apple Watch to be productive. So that's what my focus was, and it went really well. I was really happy with it, and I had a bunch of people come up to me afterwards, gave me some nice feedback, and I was really appreciative. And in fact, Mike Schmitz came up to me, and I was like, Mike said that he learned something he didn't even know about the Apple Watch. And I'm like, that's great. For someone like Mike to come up to me like that, to tell me that, it was pretty awesome. So it was a great presentation. And then Allison Sheridan came up did her presentation. Of course, everybody knows her story of within a week's time decides to change her presentation topic on Chuck's show. So she did it on mind maps, and she did an awesome job on it. I was very impressed, and to put it together that quickly. Presentation on Text Expander, and Text Expander, everybody knows that from Smile Software. Great program, and she's a guru with that, and did a great job with that. And then we had Adam Christensen come up and talk about Markdown. Mm-hmm. He's a great guy, and from the Maccast, and did a great presentation on that.
Well, I don't know if you knew this or not, but Tim originally was going to call the mymac.com podcast the Maccast.
Oh, was he?
Yeah, but then Adam Christensen started his. I think just a few weeks before Tim was getting ready to start his, and so he couldn't use it. It was already gone.
I never knew that. Well, that's an interesting story. Did not know that. And Wally Truzinski, always a great presenter, talking about video to go. He did some great stuff about working with video. He's an amazing videographer, and was very impressed with that. And so then again, in the afternoon, we did main stage and breakout rooms for all the different topics for deeper dives. I did my deeper dive, and went a little deeper into some of the things I was talking about with the Apple Watch, and people enjoyed that. And all that down until we rolled into. Did you stay to see the movie? The movie.
I saw most of it, but I actually, and I can't say whether or not it was because of the movie, but I did fall asleep at one point because it had been a long couple of days, long week, and I can't remember who I was sitting near, but they were basically, when the movie was over, I was like. I sat up and they're like, "Wow, you were like out." It's like, hope nobody else saw that.
I was sitting next to Chuck, and I was dozing off a number of times. I just to sum up the movie, I'm just blown away how many freak people are that love that Newton. That's
right. 20 years later,
20-year-old technology that people still love
and still use,
and and they can't, and they just can't put it down. And I'm amazed the thing still works. And then somebody out at the swap table afterwards put some of their Newtons up for sale, and then a few people purchased some after that. I was very impressed.
And then of course on Sunday night there was one last get together.
And a last hurrah, and that was a lot of fun
at the Bulldog.
And we gave our love for each other, give hugs and kisses, and said, "Great to see everybody, and we can't wait to see it next year." And then, of course, next year the dates were already announced. It's on July 27th and 28th of 2019,
which is the last weekend of July of 2019.
And then the concept for next year is going to be Create.
Yes, and Wally is talking about doing like a mini film festival.
Yeah, that's right. Yes, he did talk about doing a film festival. He's getting people to do their videos ahead of time, submit them, and that's going to be fun.
Yeah, I need to talk to him because I need to find out what the limits are. I mean, is there like a maximum amount of time and a minimum amount of time that he's looking for? Because my son Peter has one that actually I'm in, and he's got a couple that are actually even better than that I would probably submit. Along with, I'll think between now and next July, I'll come up with
some time.
Yeah, I got some time. I got some time, Wally. So, anyway,
great experience.
It was. It always is. And this is the fourth year that this show's been on.
4 years under our belt now. I've spoken all 4 years. It's been an absolute blast. I can't wait to do it again. It's just meeting all new people. I got to meet you. I got to meet Chuck. I got to meet Allison. All these people you got to meet and become friendly with, and it's growing.
This